Trump supporters are obviously a big bunch of snowflakes. The mildest disagreement with them is enough to set them off. And Amy Coney Barrett provided that for them in the ongoing hearing about whether judges should be able to do these nationwide injunctions. She just asked Trump's lawyer a question, and that was enough for her to be branded a literal traitor and indeed a member of MS-13. We'll get to the memes and everything, but they're mad at Amy Coney Barrett. By the way, they might still win on this. They've got the supermajority. Clarence Thomas appears to side with Trump to curtail judges' powers, which makes sense because everybody remembers the 4 years of the Biden administration where he was continually saying it's unfair of judges to do nationwide injunctions against Joe Biden. Clarence Thomas has always hated that sort of thing. But anyway, for now, they're mad at Amy Coney Barrett. Let's take a look at what set them off.
So General Sauer, are you really going to answer Justice Kagan by saying there's no way to do this expeditiously?
Well, I'll refer to my former answers. Rule 23 provides the tools to do so, multiple injunctions.
But you resisted Justice Kagan when she said, could the individual plaintiffs form a class?
That has never been briefed in the court below. I do not concede that we wouldn't oppose class certification in this particular case. There may be arguments that this case is or is not appropriate for class certification. And
if there were a class appropriate for class certification, you concede that that could resolve the question quickly?
Yes, absolutely.
You concede it could resolve the question quickly through precedent?
Yes, absolutely. It could do so.
So we've already covered what the nature of this is, how it is ostensibly about the Trump administration trying to take away the right of birthright citizenship, which is super clear in the Constitution. And Trump seems to know it, which is why they're not even really arguing for that anymore. They're just trying to stop judges from blocking the executive orders that he puts into effect. Amy Coney Barrett is like, well, couldn't we still allow for nationwide injunctions and just expedite the review of this individual thing? And she provides a couple of examples of how they could do that. All of it's totally reasonable. And that's what has set people off, to say things like she was a wasted pick, strong conservative her entire career, all 6 years of it, gets to the Supreme Court and becomes a weak liberal. Well, if anything, isn't she now a strong liberal? If she's so weak, why are you so bothered? That doesn't seem that bad. She's a traitor. She's a Judas. Remove her. She does not align with the mandate of the American people, whose wishes and demands were very clear when they voted America first. And that is true. It was super clear. When Donald Trump almost got 50% of the vote, that's a mandate like no other. And then we have this. Did you know that Amy Coney Barrett has part of the word traitor tattooed on her face? So when she stands in front of the other letters, it looks like that's there. That's a tattoo. She should not be in the Supreme Court. Did you know she has these tattoos as well? She's a part of MS-13, and I say that because, like the president, I don't know what Photoshop is, and I don't. The world's a scary place. I don't understand how anything works, but this is how they're freaking out because she was like, "Hey, instead of upsetting more than a half century of precedent on these nationwide injunctions, could we just actually adjudicate the birthright citizenship thing?" And the lawyer's like, "No, I don't want to do that because Trump doesn't want me to do that." And so they're freaking out. Brett, what do you think?
No, they want someone who will take the conservative line and swallow it, no questions asked. That's why in that first graphic you showed, it was Clarence Thomas appears to side with Trump move to curtail judges' powers. And if you want someone who literally goes along with the conservative line every time, no questions asked, it's Clarence Thomas, because the only thing that happens in these hearings before the Supreme Court is they ask questions. And Clarence Thomas once went 10 years of Supreme Court justicedom, emphasis on the dumb, and only asked one question. One, because the plan that the Republicans are so proud of themselves for executing was to go to a lab and see how they could devise a more purely pro-corporate, pro-Trump style of argument, Supreme Court justice, and pack the court with them. And they did. And they are masterful at it. And what they are realizing is that there are very few naturally occurring elements in the universe of right-wing think tank Supreme Court justice manufacture that always will go along with Trump the entire way. And to emphasize This is not her siding with anybody. This is her asking a question. They are mad that a Supreme Court justice asked a question in question time.
Yeah, no, it's again, she killed Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
She pretended.
Dianu, as we say. It would have been enough.
I know, like, again, there's nothing you can do, no matter how many strikes. She stripped women's rights away as a woman, knowing what she's doing. And that doesn't buy any leeway on MAGA. They're absolutely deranged. Anyway, I await, eagerly seeing what's gonna end up happening with this. Again, the actual question of whether you can take away birthright citizenship, everybody seems to acknowledge, like, no, that's utterly insane. You can't do that. But they might make it a lot harder for literally any checks on Trump's power to remain, which someday the Republicans might grow to regret, because as was pointed out by Elena Kagan in there. So if AOC decides, you know what, too many kids are being shot, I'm gonna take everyone's guns away. No nationwide injunction is gonna stop that. It could take years for that to go all the way to the Supreme Court. And I guess the guns are just taken until then. Or student loan debt is canceled until then. Like, again, you open that Pandora's box, you might not like everything that comes out of it.